Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Coach Prime in Colorado have a massive weekend of football heading up. Not only do we see the spring game, and this is a chance for the public at least to get a sense of what this team and what this program is looking like heading into 2023. Obviously, some massive additions to the transfer portal. First look at Deion Sanders. First look at Travis Hunter. And we'll get to kind of some players that we want to take a look at the spring game. But what the bigger story is for a lot of Colorado fans is the recruiting side of things. You have a sold-out stadium. ESPN is coming to cover the game, and you have a massive visitor list full of top 100 dudes nationally, a bunch of five-stars coming in. We're going to talk about some of the guys that are going to be on campus for this spring game and the recruiting implications that Coach Prime could have. And you look at the future of this program and how Coach Prime is going to get this program back to where you want it to be. It's going to be acquiring talent. That is why you bring in a guy like Coach Prime, and he has a massive opportunity to but get some traction with some of these guys in the 2024 class. Now, before we get into it, again, I just want to say thank you to you guys. Talking Coach Prime is probably the most exciting storyline heading into 2023. I didn't watch I watched maybe one Colorado game that opening week against TCU and maybe only watched a half. I can't even wait for their spring game. I'm going to be watching every single regular season game. I'm also going to be absolutely locked in on the spring game. That's the Coach Prime effect. I'm so intrigued. I'm so excited for this team, and I love talking about it. So if you guys do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. I can't thank you guys enough for all the support you guys are showing. I've had a blast talking ball with you guys in the comment section. So again, lock in if you do enjoy the channel. We really do appreciate all the support. Let's get into the visitor list. And something that's really important to note is this is the most popular weekend for spring games, right? Alabama, Oklahoma, LSU, Notre Dame, Nebraska. It's a laundry list of Power 5 blue blood programs that are having their spring games. And what does that say? Guys like Williams-Nwaneri, Dylan Stewart, five-star caliber guys who are getting recruited by all those schools. Where are they choosing to be? They're choosing to be at the sold-out stadium with ESPN coverage and Coach Prime at Colorado. I think that speaks volumes to the attraction that Coach Prime has with this Colorado football program. I want to get a little bit into some of the players they'll have on campus, right? Starting with the number 3 national player, Williams-Nwaneri, who Oklahoma, Nebraska, LSU, all teams that are in on him. He's choosing to come to Colorado. One of the most talented players in this 2024 class, the number 1 defensive lineman in the 2024 class. The next guy up, Dylan Stewart, another 5-star guy, top 10 nationally, the number 1 edge rusher in this class, 6'5", 235 pounds from Washington, D.C. Phenomenal athlete. Like the burst off the line of scrimmage. You don't become a 5-star if you're not special. The length, the athleticism, everything is special for Dylan Stewart. Next on the list, Aaron Butler, 65th nationally from the state of California. Coach Prime is getting a lot of traction from the West Coast and a lot of those guys from California. And you look back at Colorado's golden age, they were getting a lot of talent from the state of California. And if Coach Prime can kind of set up a pipeline from that talented state out west, that would be massive. And he knows he's going to be able to recruit Florida. He's from Florida, but kind of tapping in for Colorado to that western pipeline of talent would be massive. Next on the list, Jaden Riddell. Tim Brewster, the tight ends coach, has been extremely active on Twitter, kind of saying this is tight end you. We want the top tight ends coming to Colorado. He's one of the best tight ends in the class, 6'4", 233 pounds from Missouri. Again, the size and the speed with him is special. Why he's a top 50 dude nationally. Brandon Davis Swan, I will say, y'all can stay away from him. As a Michigan fan, he's from West Bloomfield, Michigan. Y'all just let Michigan have him, but he'll also be on campus. Top 200 kid, 6'4", 240. Could kind of play either way, and it kind of depends on how his body matures. He's 6'4", 240 as he's going into his senior year. I could certainly see him being a 300-pound defensive lineman. I also could see him being a 255-pound edge rusher. He's athletic enough to do so. Jordan Johnson-Rubel, a safety from IMG Academy. He's also a very exciting prospect, top 150 nationally according to 24/7 Sports. And then Boo Carter, this is not his first time on campus at Colorado, from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Also being recruited by pretty much the whole SEC. I know Tennessee's in on him very, very heavily. The list, this group of players deciding to come to Colorado it's nothing short of impressive. A lot of these Power 5 programs, Alabama, Ohio State, they don't even have a visitor list like this. When you have multiple guys in the top 10, multiple guys in the top, pretty much everyone on this list is top 200 nationally, according to 24/7 Sports. It's a massive, massive pool of talent that'll be visiting Colorado. And then you think, what is the scenes going to be? Like, all these guys have visited some of the other Power 5 schools. They've been on campus for spring games. This might be the best spring game environment in the whole entire country, right? A sold out stadium. You don't even have some of the Blue Bloods selling out their stadium. It's going to be a massive weekend of football, and you're going to see a lot of new faces on the field. And Coach Prime can finally show kind of how this program is turning around. And I have a feeling it's going to leave a very strong impression on some of these guys, some of these recruits that are in this 2024 class. Now, next thing I want to do is talk about what this Colorado team is going to look like in 2023 and what players on campus right now. And they have a bunch of guys coming in during the summer who won't get there till the summer. But who are the guys on campus right now that you should be looking out for in the spring game, right? And we're going to obviously start on the offensive side of the ball. And Shedeur Sanders, who, 70 touchdowns? I believe he only threw like 13, 14 interceptions at Jackson State. I know a lot of people like to say, coming from the FCS, and that is a concern. I think that's a realistic concern, is that jump in competition level. How is he going to react? But you watch him spin the ball. There's no argument about the talent he has. Quite frankly, my bigger question mark is not Shedeur Sanders, but the weapons around Shedeur Sanders and who he's going to be able to get the ball to, because at the end of the day, you can be a very good quarterback, but you have to have some weapons who are going to make some plays for you on the outside. Some of the guys, and I mean, I got a laundry list of guys who are split between summer arrivals and guys who are going to be on campus right now. Getting into the list, a guy that I feel like just doesn't get enough, and we'll get to Travis Hunter playing the wide receiver spot. Jimmy Horn Jr. from USF. Just turn on the highlights of this kid. He's on campus already. He's a little bit smaller, but his speed and his short area quickness is next level. And he's a guy that is going to be a quarterback's best friend. Like, early separator, get the ball to him out in space and let him cook. He's going to be someone that Shedeur Sanders is going to rely on heavily. And no doubt, offensive coordinator Sean Lewis and Coach Prime are going to say, we want to get this guy the ball in space as much as we can. And then obviously, you want to see what Travis Hunter looks like at the wide receiver position. From what I've heard, he's taking most of his reps at wide receiver. He's going to play two ways. He's going to be one of the best cornerbacks in the country, but how can he be a weapon for Shedeur Sanders at the wide receiver position? You've seen the clips on Twitter. I've seen the clips on Twitter. He's going to be a good wide receiver. I think it just comes on to learning the position and getting those reps. I'm more interested to see what the split is. Like, how many snaps a game is he going to be playing defense, and how many snaps a game is he going to be playing wide receiver? You haven't really seen like a full-time two-way player. That is, I mean, kind of unheard of at the college football level. And I get how good Travis Hunter is. I'm very interested to see where they're going to really go with him in terms of how many snaps he's going to play on both sides of the ball. Another guy to keep an eye on, Dylan Edwards. Early enrollee, he's small. Like, you see him, he's small, but the speed. He's got 4.3 speed. It don't matter how small you are. It's really hard to cover speed. And he's going to play running back. I don't think he'll be the bell cow. You have a guy like Kavosiey Smoke coming in the summer who's going to be, I mean, he's a fifth-year senior coming from Kentucky. He's going to be the guy who I would guess is going to be taking most of the carries. Now, Dylan Edwards is a guy kind of like Jimmy Horn Jr. that just get him the ball and let him absolutely cook, because he's, again, a guy that just has game-breaking speed. And then another thing, tight end, Shedeur coming from Arkansas State. You've seen him. I mean, he looks like a freak. Big, he's fast. Another one of those playmakers that's going to be there for Shedeur Sanders. And a couple guys who won't be there for the summer, Adam Hawkins coming from that 2023 class, and Marion Miller, and then Xavier Weaver coming also with Jimmy Horn from USF. So you're feeling pretty good about the playmakers around Shedeur Sanders. I'm excited to get our first look at him. And then you go to the offensive line, where they kind of are hammered transfer portal, right? You have a guy, and we'll kind of focus. Landon Beebe, from what I'm hearing, is a phenomenal get from the FCS level. Savion Washington coming over from Kent State. Tyler Brown is a legit house. Like, all the videos I see of him, like, I don't know how you get around a guy like that. I mean, broad shoulders, he's just a massive dude. How does this offensive line hold up physicality-wise? And what I'm even more excited about is they're going to be going up against a very talented defense, right? Shane Coase coming through the transfer portal, Leonard Payne coming through the transfer portal. Jordan Dominic is 9.5 sacks at Arkansas in the SEC last year. You have a guy in Taylor Upshaw who's played significantly for Michigan, also going to be on campus. This offensive line is going to go up against some very talented defensive line guys. I'm really excited to see kind of who has the upper hand. How did the trenches look? Because, again, I think Colorado has done a nice job getting some talent at some playmaking spots, but the real challenge of a rebuild is getting those guys to depth on the offense and defensive line that's going to be able to hold up in Pac-12 play. This is going to be your first sense to get a sense of how big these guys are, how physical they are. But there's some names that you got to be keeping an eye on. Savion Washington, the transfer from Kent State, I've heard looks great. Get into the linebacker spot. Levonta Bentley coming over from Clemson. Like Clemson linebackers, absolutely phenomenal. You won't see Demoy Kennedy. He's a former top 50 dude nationally transferring over from Alabama. But this linebacker group, you feel pretty good about. Levonta Bentley's a guy that, I mean, you look at Clemson's linebackers right now, and Carter Barrett, Jeremiah Trotter, like they are all-American level dudes. So Levonta Bentley, I don't think was the thing with the transfer portal is a lot of these guys aren't necessarily like, oh, I'm just not that good, so I'm transferring out. Like Levonta Bentley was just legitimately behind 3 guys last year who are going to be playing at the NFL. And so that's nothing to say about Levonta Bentley not being a good linebacker. I think he's going to be phenomenal in his first really chance to get some serious starting times. And then the secondary. I mean, Travis Hunter, you obviously won't see Kermani McClain. He's not enrolled yet, but seeing Travis Hunter just being – I hope he gets to see some Jimmy Horn Jr. versus Travis Hunter reps. Like, that'll be some really, really good on good. See where those guys are. You have a guy like Miles Slusher here coming from Arkansas too, who's a 2.5-year starter for Arkansas, coming to Colorado, going to play that safety, maybe a box safety role. Cameron Silmon Craig coming from Jackson State. And all the Jackson State guys, my take is on that. Coach Prime wouldn't bring these guys over if he doesn't think they can play at the Power 5 level, at the Pac-12 level. Like that's kind of where I stand on that. Like they had a lot of good players at Jackson State. The guys who are coming to Colorado with them are guys that Coach Prime says, I know you can play at that Power 5 level. That's who I'm taking to come in. So you're getting your first look at a ton of talent for this Colorado team. I can't wait to see the environment. I can't wait to see how this offense runs. I'm very excited to see Shedeur Sanders spin the ball to some of these playmakers and just get a sense of where this Colorado team is at. And we've done a lot of conversation about 2023 expectations, right? What would be considered a good season for Colorado? And I really do think that this first year for Coach Prime is massive in terms of where this program is going, right? You're coming from 1-11, one of the worst FBS teams in the whole entire country in 2022. If you want to start getting some of those top 5 stars more consistently, I think Colorado needs to show that they're going in the right direction. Now, am I asking them to go out and win a Pac-12 championship? Probably not. That being said, a 6-6, 7-5 record, a bowl game for Colorado in the first year under Coach Prime, I think would be a massive success. And when you go back onto the recruiting trail, recruiting the rest of this 2024 and then in the 2025 class, you have proof of concept that we're going in the right direction. We just took a team that's 1-11 to 6-6, 7-5 in a very, very, very competitive Pac-12 conference where you're also playing TCU and Nebraska out of conference. If you can have that proof of concept that this team is going in the right direction, I think that's going to be massive in terms of convincing some of these top guys that, hey, if I go to Colorado, I'm going to be playing for Pac-12 championships. I'm going to be playing for college football spots in my 3 to 4 years that I'll be there. That's what those guys are looking for. They're not only looking to be under Coach Prime, they want to go win championships. And if Coach Prime can show that we're on the track and you're going to be part of something that's going to work and we're going to get there, that's another massive, massive kind of recruiting pitch for Coach Prime to some of these young top recruits in the 2024 and 2025 class. Now, I cannot wait. We will be back recapping the spring game immediately when it ends. I'm counting down the days. I think this is going to be absolutely awesome. I believe Robert Griffin III is on the call. ESPN is going to be there. I hope we get kind of a mid-game Coach Prime interview too. The sound bites are going to be absolutely phenomenal. So again, appreciate you guys checking us out. If you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Again, can't thank you guys enough for all the support you guys have shown, and we'll talk to y'all later. Spring game this Saturday. Let's get it. Peace.